Hello and welcome back to my channel. When you're here, my name is Justin, and I make videos where I go through my budgeting process, kind of walk and talk you through what I'm doing with my money. This is an out of cycle video. For those who have been following along, you know I've been kind of taking some time away from making content. In my latest video, I alluded to the fact that I was going to be kind of changing up my budgeting system. And this video is going to go through my current setup or my new setup. I wanted to do this video separate because I will be starting this coming Friday, I will be making videos again, regular content. And I wanted to kind of roll out my new setup as it is today prior to making new content using my new setup. Now, is my setup finalized? No. Is it as close to where I want it to be for this new season of my life? Yes. So for the time being, this is probably going to be my setup. But I do reserve the right to, change what I need to. So without further ado,
it is time.
This is my new setup. Don't mind that overspending. We'll take care of that overspending in my video on Friday. But as you can see, I have a lot less accounts on the left. If you remember, I had about 15 or 20 accounts listed over here. I also have a lot less category groups, and that's because my old method, the category groups mirrored the accounts. So I had a category group for every account I had, and that is how I used to kind of track things. I would like to say that a lot of the comments that I've gotten on my videos about why are you using so many accounts, it's simply too much, too complicated. You can do that with fewer accounts. I'd like to say that those comments are what directed me to want to make this change, but I have been toying with the idea of making change to my accounting system for a long time. I have struggled to want to implement such a change because I don't do well with change. I also have been using that system for a very long time, and so it was comfortable to me. But what actually prompted me to want to make the change is a couple months ago, I was on Reddit reading through YNAB posts, and I came across a thread where people were talking about being forced to do a refresh or like a restart or whatever YNAB calls having to create a new budget. I think it's called a fresh start. And people on there were conjecturing that the reason they were needing to restart or do this refresh was because of the lack of space for their data. And it got me thinking, with the number of accounts that I had, I was doing a lot of transferring money between accounts, which means not only am I tracking transactions for my regular spending and inflow, but each of those transfers has two sides of the coin, right? You're transferring out and you're transferring in. So every transfer has two transactions, and I was transferring a bunch. And actually, I can show you I go to all of my accounts and I just look for the transfers and the payee, we can ignore the credit card payments, those that, YNAB does credit card payments as like a transfer because that's kind of technically what it is. But just looking at July, right? And July literally just started 13 days ago, so we're only halfway through. Actually, July is probably not a good month. Let me pick a different month because with my transferring of accounts and stuff, a little bit misleading. So we'll look at June. So for the month of June, June was a typical month for me. You can see that I have a ton of transfers, right? And that's just in 1 month, transferring things from account to account and between accounts. That's a lot of data. And so when people were talking about needing to do a fresh start because of the amount of data that they had accumulated, I realized that I was accumulating much more than most people because I was transferring like it was going out of style. So the way to curb that is basically utilize less accounts. That way you're not having to transfer money as often. So I really wanted to do a 2-account system where I have a checking account and a savings account, but I'm not quite ready to go that far. And so you'll notice that I have a checking account, a main checking account, a savings account, an emergency fund, and a discretionary checking account. These two here are what remains of my, I think I had 7 accounts at Chase. I'm going to be keeping one of these 2 open. More than likely, it's probably going to be this bill pay because that's what my debit card is tied to. But because I'm getting paid next week, I don't want to close this income account and mess up that direct deposit. So I'm going to keep this income account until this paycheck next week, and then that one will be closed. The only reason I'm keeping this bill pay with Chase is because I don't want to lose a presence at a brick and mortar, a national brick and mortar bank. And so I will more than likely just keep penny in that account just to keep it open. But I won't be using it for really anything. My discretionary, I didn't want to lump into my checking or savings account because for now, I want to keep that as a separate account. That way I know exactly how much money I have allotted to do whatever I want with, right? I recognize that I can just pull up my YNAB app and I can say, well, I have, $241 in that group. I'm not quite there yet. So eventually I think I will consolidate my discretionary into a different account. But for the time being, I want to keep it separate. That way I can track my fund spending compared to all of my other spending. But after this paycheck next week, my paychecks will be direct deposited into my main checking account. What I plan on doing is capping the amount in that account to $3,000. That is typically how much money I spend, plus a little bit of a buffer each month. And so what that will allow me to do is I can make all of my payments I need to out of that checking account throughout the month and just refill the balance up to 3,000 every paycheck. And all of my other money outside of My discretionary and my emergency fund will be in that savings account. So let's say December rolls around and my car registration is due. I should have enough money in my main checking account to cover that, but if I don't, I can just transfer that from savings for that one-time expense. But essentially, I will only need to be transferring money probably twice a month when I get paid. And that will be to just move whatever excess is in that checking account beyond $3,000 into my savings account. And obviously, whatever I put into my emergency fund and discretionary, I might be doing that manual transfers, but I'm also thinking about maybe automating that a little bit. And so I know how much money I put into my discretionary account every paycheck, typically $100, $50 for dining, $50 for whatever else. So I might add to my direct deposit setup an automatic transfer of $100 from each paycheck into discretionary. That way it just shows up there on payday and I don't have to transfer it. My emergency fund is going to be a little bit different. I might spend different amounts or varying amounts each paycheck. I might not spend any at all. It just depends on kind of what I'm working with at that time. So I'm moving in the right direction. So now I want to go over my category groups. You can see that there are a lot less and they're named differently. One of the channels I follow frequently is Geeky Life Savings. Melissa runs that channel. I think subconsciously, like consciously, I didn't know that she was doing this in her videos, like certainly her most recent videos, but she has all of her category groups based on quotes from, I'm going to get this wrong and I'm sorry, Star Wars, Star Trek, one of those two. I'm not really into that scene, but a lot of the Star Wars or Star Trek movies, she has her category groups based off of quotes. Now, when I was designing these, I knew I wanted to do something similar. But again, I didn't know that that's what she was doing. I think just subconsciously watching her videos, it just gave me the idea, thinking it was my idea, but it was actually something she was doing. So that is what I did with mine, but I didn't do Star Wars stuff. I did just other movies out there. And so in this first video, I'm going to play the clips of the movies that gave me the inspiration for the name. And then just moving forward, I don't know if I'm going to keep playing those clips like Melissa does, or if I'm just going to move on from that. So this first one, I can't help unless you make a wish.
I can't help you unless you make a wish.
This is my wish farm. The items in here are the same as what they were before. I've just renamed it. The second group is, what are you waiting for? I don't know, something amazing, I guess.
So what are you waiting for?
I don't know. Something amazing, I guess.
This is what my can't assign right now group used to be. I don't want to get rid of this group only because there are times when I don't want to have money sitting in my ready to assign, but I'm not ready to actually assign it to a category in my budget. So I use this group to kind of hold on to that money. As you can see, I have $5 on my plasma card. Anything under $20, I can't really do much with because I can't pull it out of an ATM. I can't transfer from this account to my checking account if it's under $300. So really anything under $20 we're not in a $20 increment, I have to account somehow. So this is how I do it. A lot of times if I get bank bonuses, I'll throw them on here until I'm ready to assign them out. So that's what this group is for. The credit card group, that has stayed the same. You can't really rename that. I wish I could. I would name it to something else, but that is just a staple in my life. I don't go into debt using my credit card. I pay all of my expenses that I'm able to pay with a credit card, and just pay that bill. Usually I've been paying it a couple times a month, but I think I'm just going to set automatic payments to pay the statement balance every month in full. That way I don't have to think about making the payment, and it'll just happen. The next group, do you pay your bills, Frank?
Pay your bills, Frank?
I don't know what you're talking
Do you pay your bills, I asked?
This is basically my 4 walls. These are the bills that I need in order to live life. So obviously food is something I need, gas, transportation to me, like the expenses along with transportation, not the payment itself of like a car payment, but car insurance, gas. These are things like, for me, I kind of need a car. I don't live in an area where I can go carless. I'm not a bus kind of public transportation kind of person, even though my employer pays for my bus pass. Like, I have a card that the company pays for, or not the company, but the employer that I work for. Obviously I work in government, so that's an expense that they pay for. I still don't want to take the bus. I would rather have my own vehicle to do what I want with. And then obviously the other items of 4 walls are housing. And I consider my storage unit a 4 walls item. I don't live in a large apartment, so I can't just store my stuff here. And so basically these are the bills that if I don't pay, it's gonna kind of ruin my day. So the next group is you just got to keep living, man. LIVIN.
You just gotta keep living, man. LIVIN.
These are my items that I don't need. These are, you can think of, wants. So all of my subscriptions are under here, and my discretionary spending items like dining out, fun things are under here. I have this college. This is something new. I have this college item down here. From time to time, I will need to pay for a textbook that they don't provide for free during the module or during that class. So I put it here because it's not something I need to spend, even though I kind of do. Schooling is more of a just keep on living sort of thing. It's not really a 4 walls, so that's why I decided to put it here. The next item is, this is what you've been trained for.
Gentlemen, this is the real thing. This is what you've been trained for.
So this is what I used to call my non-monthly items. So I have household consumables. I've moved that down here. Routine vehicle maintenance. These are basically the non-routine bills that always come up that I need to plan for. And then all the rest are pretty much the same that I've had in here. I just moved household consumables down to this group, and routine vehicle maintenance. At some point, I'm going to start putting money into that. That is going to be in here. This group is going to be a group that on August 1st, I will no longer be using actively, but this is every lie we tell incurs a debt to the truth.
Every lie we tell incurs a debt to the truth. Sooner or later, that debt is paid.
And this is obviously my debt. So right now, the only debt I have is car payment. August 1st, I will be making the last payment on that. And then moving forward, I won't have any debt. So I will more than likely hide this, and then there won't be anything under this group. But I'm going to keep it. I don't plan on ever going into debt, but you never know. So that's basically what this is. But as you can see, I have $4,200 sitting in this group. Once I get paid on the 30th of July, and then on the 1st of August, I will get my GI Bill benefit check for going to school. Once those funds hit my account, I will have enough money to pay the car off. And I plan on making a video, either a separate video going through that or incorporating it into one of my budget with me videos. I have this, a dog doesn't care if you're rich or poor.
Dog doesn't care if you're rich or poor, clever or dull.
This is basically all of my expenses for the dog, minus the emergency vet group, which will be in my emergency fund. But I have my dog food, anything like boarding, shots, grooming, treats, things like that are going to be under this group. I have been setting money aside for grooming. I do want to get him groomed. It's been a long time since he's been groomed. So, and I also just recently got him his shots, and then I figured this is something that I need to do every year. I don't typically do it every year, but I really need to. So I added a shots item and added a target to every May get his shots done. The future is now, old man.
Future's now, old man.
This is basically my long-term savings. Items in here are retirement, new vehicle, down payment, and travel. Typically things I haven't really been putting money towards, but eventually I would like to. And then my last group, oh my God, it's happening, stay calm.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody, stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. What?
This is my emergency fund. I would like to get a 3-month income replacement emergency fund. And so I broke my emergency fund group that I used to have, or my category that I used to have, into 1 month, 2 month, and 3 month. Each one needs to be $3,000. That is right now what I'm saying I spend typically on a month by month basis. And then on top of that, I also want to have money set aside for vehicle emergencies, health emergencies, and vet emergencies. So whether, like currently right now, what I'm doing is breaking those out into their individual things, but I also could do a 6-month emergency fund. And I think that would give me enough to take care of any of those. But for now, I'm just going to do a 3-month income replacement and then vehicle, health, and vet broken out separately like that. So yeah, that's basically my new setup. Again, in the future, it might change. I might kind of change things around as I see fit, but I'm happy with this setup. A lot less accounts to kind of manage. I'm no longer mapping my category groups to the accounts, even though that was really easy in terms of like reconciling, right? Because if the available amount in that account matched the account balance, then I knew that it was reconciled. So I will have to go back to doing the reconciliation routinely at the account level, because I'm unable to do that at the category group. That's really the only thing I'm going to have to change. But yeah, I plan on making a video this week, Friday, when I get paid. I get paid on Wednesdays. I usually film Thursday, either Wednesday or Thursday, a video, and just schedule it to post on Fridays. So yeah, we'll see you in my next video this Friday.